Your English teacher just handed you back your essay with weak analysis scribbled in red ink again. Sound familiar? You're staring at the comment thinking, I literally just said why this is important. But somehow you're stuck with another C plus. And worse, zero clue with what your English teacher actually wants. Here's the brutal truth. Your teacher isn't trying to be vague or unhelpful. They just don't know how to teach you the specific techniques that turn weak analysis into A plus essays. The good news? But I do. Hey, I'm John, and as a 17-year high school English teacher, I can literally solve every problem you have in a high school English classroom. And in this video, I'm about to share with you 5 analysis secrets your teacher wishes you knew. By the end of this video, your English teacher is going to wonder if you hired a university writing tutor. Let's dive right into mastering essay analysis. The whole thing is going to be around tools that kind of guarantee A+ grades, and I'll explain what I mean in a second. The number one problem students have with essay analysis is the fact that they're always asking the question, what do I have to do? And the teacher will often give some vague advice. You have to analyze the evidence. What do I have to do? Oh, you have to say why evidence or it matters. Oh, what do I have to do? Oh, you have to explain the evidence, or sorry, explain the significance. The solution then, if you seem to be stuck in the same cycle of never being able to analyze or get good grades, is you have to start asking how questions. And what I mean by that is you need specific tools that give you options, or what I will call sort of analysis tools, or just simply tools. They answer the question, well, how do I actually analyze? Again, to go back to those what questions, well, how do I explain the significance? How do I analyze the evidence, et cetera, et cetera? And I use the tool belt metaphor with my class, which basically means that if all you're answering, or sorry, all you're asking are these vague what questions, it's like having a tape measure in your tool belt. That's it. You only have one way to analyze or say why it matters or, explain the significance. But if you start asking how questions and using the tools I'm about to give you, it's like adding a saw or a screwdriver or, actually I'm not super handy with tools, so I'm unsure, but you get the general metaphor right here. I'll stop embarrassing myself. So it's going to give you some specific tools and options. And for the rest of this video, we're going to use the following claim and evidence. So again, claim simply asks a question, well, what do you think? And evidence is basically answering the question, why do you think that? Give me some proof. And for this video here, imagine our claim. I'll use Macbeth because it's sort of a common English story. Imagine my claim or my topic sentence is Macbeth's ambition overrides his morality as he contemplates Duncan's murder. So this idea that his ambition is stronger than his morality. And the evidence, I'm just going to go in Act 1, Scene 7. Macbeth wrestles with his conscience before killing King Duncan. He says, I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls on the other. So Macbeth acknowledges he has no logical reason to kill King Duncan, only an overpowering ambition pushing him forward. So we've got our claim, we've got our evidence, and how I'm going to show you these tools work is I'm going to analyze this same piece of evidence 5 different times. And if you stick around to the end, I'll actually give you a bonus way. So 6 tools in the tool belt here. And the first tool we've got is cause and effect. Imagine I analyze it like this. This moment of self-reflection is the tipping point. From here, Macbeth moves from thought to action. His decision to follow his vaunting ambition leads directly to Duncan's murder. And from there, everything spirals. Paranoia, guilt, hallucinations, and more killings. Macbeth starts losing control the moment he ignores his conscience as his ambition leads to his tragedy. Shakespeare uses this moment to show how one decision made in pride can unravel an entire life. So cause and effect really asks the question kind of what happened because of this? What's the effect of this action? And like I say, it shows how one moment or decision leads to another, the sort of chain of events. And you'd use it to show that you understand how the story develops and how characters' choices affect real outcomes in the story world. So just like in the Macbeth one, I showed how the outcomes of Macbeth's vaulting ambition. And you kind of use it when a choice causes regret, guilt, or action, or a quote signals a turning point. One moment clearly sets up the next. And there's some sort of plot movement or character response, which is what we obviously have in that Macbeth evidence. A second tool is making a judgment. So imagine I analyzed it with this. Macbeth is fully aware that what he's planning is wrong, yet he still continues. This shows weakness in his moral character. He chooses power even when he is fully aware of his conscience. Macbeth knows this is wrong. Oops, should be but there, fat fingered that. But instead of resisting temptation, he lets ambition silence his better judgment. While some critics see Macbeth as a tragic character, his decision proves he isn't just a victim of fate. Macbeth chooses his own destruction. Ultimately, he lacks the courage to do what's right, even when he clearly knows what is wrong. So judgment kind of asks the question, is this or is a character's choices, is it good or bad? And it kind of helps you evaluate the character's actions and decisions and you judge them. You say whether it's good or bad, right or wrong, harmful, self-centered, brave, selfish, whatever. And judgment is great because it adds voice and depth to your writing and shows you're engaging critically, not just describing what happened, but actually thinking about whether they're making good or bad decisions. So, if a character acts selfishly or heroically, positively or negatively, judge them if you need. If you feel strongly about what happens, or if there's often conflict or tension, especially internal tension within the characters, judge them. Great technique. The third one you can use is stakes, not the stuff you grill up, but the idea of stakes as in consequences. And we've got here the consequences of Macbeth's decision are massive, not just for Duncan, but for Scotland, Macbeth's mind, and the natural order of society. If Macbeth gives in, he potentially sets off a chain of events that will lead to bloodshed, instability, and his own psychological collapse. His soliloquy shows us that Macbeth knows this decision matters, yet is willing to risk everything for power. Shakespeare uses this internal debate to build dramatic tension and highlight the irreversible weight of this choice. What's at stake isn't just a crown, but Macbeth's soul. So stakes are asking, well, what's at risk? Why does this matter? And they sort of highlight the importance of a moment by focusing on what could be lost, gained, or, permanently changed. Like this is a turning point in the story. And it really shows you understand emotional and thematic weight, like why something ultimately matters and not just summarizing what happened. But stakes is usually a decision affecting more than one person, obviously, maybe the entire story world. There's a danger, pressure, or something to lose. And the moment could change the character or the world forever. And the question then is sort of like, well, aren't stakes and cause and effect, the same? And really, they're very similar, kind of like a Venn diagram of two overlapping circles. There is some similarity because you're looking at kind of effects both ways. But the difference is cause and effect is kind of looking at like events in the plot, sort of what happened next. And, A happened or B happens because of A. Whereas stakes looks at sort of the why question. Why does this matter? What's the emotional impact? And this matters because something's at risk. So if you're looking at more plot events, you're probably using cause and effect. If you're looking at more like why this matters and a significance to it, you're probably going with stakes. Cause and effect is all about chronology, what happened because of this, and stakes or consequence is, what happens if this goes right or wrong. It has an urgency or an impact. Next, our fourth tool is we've got to look at patterns and we could analyze. Macbeth often hesitates before acting. Earlier in Act 1, Scene 3, he's shaken by the witch's prophecy and says, "If chance will have me king, why, chance may crown me." He constantly wavers, first letting fate decide, then forcing it through violence. The repetition of internal conflict shows a pattern of self-doubt and moral struggle, making his downfall more believable and tragic. Shakespeare uses this repeated behavior to foreshadow Macbeth's inability to escape the consequences of his own ambition. So this idea that this isn't the first time Macbeth has, struggled with killing the king. It's a pattern. So you're asking a question, have I seen this before? And they help you spot and analyze repeated ideas, symbols, motifs, themes, whatever, across the text. And it shows that you're thinking beyond a single quote, that, again, this isn't just one instance in a story, it's part of a pattern. Helps you recognize structure and development across a story. So use patterns when a word, phrase, or ideas appears a few times, i.e. more than twice. A character repeats a behavior, good or bad, or a symbol keeps returning. So patterns can be great for that. Lastly, we can look at an author's craft and the choices they make as a writer. Shakespeare gives Macbeth this moment of introspection to make him more than a generic villain. Instead of immediately rushing into murder, Macbeth is portrayed as thoughtful, conflicted, and self-aware. This makes his eventual decision to kill Duncan more tragic because we know he could have acted or chosen differently. It also shows Shakespeare's mastery in crafting psychologically complex characters through a soliloquy that reveals the inner workings of a character's conflicted mind. So choice and craft is great because you're asking, well, why did the writer ultimately write this? And it examines their decisions. So You should use it. Again, you're thinking critically, not just about, cause effect, but about purpose. Like, why was it written in this way? Not just, again, well, this happens. Well, why did the author do this? And the character does something unexpected, or an author uses a technique like irony or foreshadowing, or a line feels kind of like this is a gut feeling, but it's like designed to affect the reader. Trust those gut feelings. The author's probably telling you something through their writing. Bonus tool. I thought I'd throw this one in, implication. What's implied through this? It's sort of a different way of looking at the very basic question of, well, why or what should I analyze? And implication is looking at like the hidden meaning behind something. Macbeth's admission reveals that he is motivated by an obsessive desire for power and not justice, revenge, or loyalty. By calling his ambition vaulting, he suggests that it is reckless and dangerous, something that leaps without thinking. The metaphor implies that ambition, when not grounded in reason or ethics, can lead to one's downfall. This moment suggests Shakespeare is warning us about the self-destructive nature of unchecked ambition. The implication is broader than Macbeth's situation, as it speaks to human nature and the consequences of desiring power at all costs. And again, this is sort of the traditional one, but if you think of like, well, what's implied, I usually find that students go deeper with their analysis, even on this basic level, which a basic level can easily give an A+ essay. So, what's the deeper message, the hidden meaning? What's it saying about ideas like power, love, fear, identity? And hidden meaning shows you understand literature as more than just a story, and that it's a connection to real life. And if, a quote feels symbolic or emotional, a character's facing a universal struggle, or you want to connect the moment to a big idea about life, use that implication. So thanks. There's 6 different ways that you can analyze. And again, the more tools you have in your tool belt, the easier it will be, or easier it will be to analyze, because you're not just relying on one question. Why is this important? You could look at cause and effect, patterns, judgment, stakes, whatever it is that you need. So if you found this video helpful and you want some more help with writing essays, click on this playlist right here where I go deeper into lots of different areas of writing that can help you earn those A pluses you deserve through hard work. So thanks, take care. I'll see you in the next one.